screen. I'm going to try to do that today. So the purpose of this step was just to put a video together so you guys will see that pretty much all the command that we have been playing around with, is it's the same thing that you will be using. And then down here is just how to do configuration, how to configure. But up top here is basically all the different package that you're going to need to make your thing works. And like I was telling you guys earlier, you're going to go online, find whatever what somebody have put together, use it, and then do all the different troubleshooting. If it's happened that something doesn't work accordingly, you will adjust it to make it work fine. So since we are putting a website together, we're going to need a Apache. Apache is going to be an application that people going to use to come on their server to see some context. And when they are logging on their server, they need to enter some information that need to go on your database. That's why we use MariaDB. And again, we are not developers, so we don't deal with PHP. This WordPress stuff, basically LAMP stack, as you guys see the name here, it stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So those are different sector of IT that come together, figure out the way how to put some element together to have a basic website, because they knew and they understood that it's not everybody who can become a developer. So they try to find it to make an easy way. And this WordPress website, they say is about 1/3 of all the websites that you're going to see out there. So it's about 1/3 of all the websites, meaning there's a lot of people who use this. There's some big organization, some government who use this WordPress to build up their website. So it's already something very valuable at this point. So like I was saying, here we know that we are using the DNF command and we are trying to install, and we will be install all these packages that we're going to need to put our website together. So that's just what we are pasting here. Just the same thing. Here we know that our systemctl command is just gonna, this is to start the service. If I restart my machine, the service should start automatically, and here I'm starting the service at the same time. Because at this point, if I do a systemctl statu on HTTPD, the service is not running yet. That's why I want to start the service right now. And if I do the start again, now we have that service that is running. So here I know that the service is running, but the port is not open yet, right? So if we go here, we try to verify. 1.130. The port is not open, even though the service is up and running. So we need to open the firewall by using this firewall command. So at this stage, I'm saying I'm opening the firewall, and this symbol, the 2n%, means after this command I've done running and it's successful, it has to be successful for the second command to run. That's what the 2n% means. And I think we talked about that when we were talking about the symbol in Linux. So now that I open the port, and if I double check my website again, at this point, we see that we already have some information. And if you pay attention here, it's even giving you an idea already. Like it's telling you if you are building a website with Apache, then you should put your document, there's information of your website inside the document root, and this is where the document root is. And they say that this is where you're going to do your configuration. And if you are using Nginx, it's telling you where you're going to do the configuration for the Nginx. So it's already giving you even some guide on how to configure your website. So we know that we're going to need the database as well. That's why here I'm installing the package for the database, and I'm going to start the service for the database also. I'm starting the database service. Like I was saying, those developers, they came together and they put some extra package for PHP. We don't do no programming over here, so we don't know too much stuff about PHP. But for us to be able to download PHP, they put it in this repository, which we're going to talk about more in our future later. You are downloading the EPEL repository. We stand for extra package enterprise Linux. We have some more Linux packages in there. And after that, we get that, we need to download the remit package from where we're going to get our PHP packages and stuff. So basically, when you see DNF, you know that, oh, we are about to download something. That's what is most important. Sometimes you don't even know what package you are downloading, but you just know that, oh, this is to download, and you just download what is needed. Here we are opening some module about PHP. And we're gonna install some dependency that PHP needs. So here, system feature. So that means we're gonna start some PHP services. We started that. So we're pretty much done with all of them. What we need to do now is to secure MariaDB. Um, and this is the command that you're going to use to secure your MariaDB with. So at this point, we don't have no password for MariaDB yet. That's why you just press enter. And then it asks you if you want to create a password for MariaDB. For the root user of MariaDB, you say yes. And now it's asked for the password. Like I say, I only use Rocky to make my life easy. I'm not here to memorize the password at this time. And then this is for if people want to connect on your database anyhow, you're saying yes, you want to remove that. You don't want people to just connect on your database from anywhere. You know, you want to disable a root login, a root remote login. You want to remove the database test, and then reload all the privilege of all the changes that you have made. So at this point, you did secure your database. So all I need to do here is just to restart those services to let them know about all the change and all the different application or modification I was making on that server. So here I finished installing everything. It's already there. All I need to do now here is just to configure my server. So I will go inside the, I can do it manually. So cd inside var www.html. So this is what they call the document root, right? When we were saying here, if you are doing an Apache, this is where you need to put all your website inside the document root. So that's why I'm going here. This extra thing is just me who have decided to add the vhost based on, you can put it anything, it doesn't really matter. As long as it's inside the document root, it will be fine. So I will do merging I do -p because doing the -p mean like I'm trying to create multiple directory. So I will say vhost slash, let's call our website, how do you want to call it? Let's just say web.com, make it easy. So we have our website web.com, and we see the inside the vhost file that we created. In here, I'm going on the WordPress website to try to download the latest version of WordPress. Like, they made it quite just easy for anybody to go download it. And we know that when you do wget, it's to go on the website to try to take a particular package. Right. We downloaded it. If I do LL, now we see that package that we download from the WordPress website. We took it over there. We need to extract it because it's an archive file. We need to extract, and we know that the command that we're going to use to extract is this. The Z stands for gun zip, this one, this part. The X will stand for extract, V for verbose, and the F for file, because this is a file. So that's why I'm using it here. The verbose one is just mean like, show me anything that you are extracting. So even if you don't put the V, it's still going to extract, but it's not going to show you what it's doing exactly. So if we do LL again, now we see that we have our WordPress file right here. I added this line to copy that. It just it's going to be a way for me to copy everything that's inside the WordPress folder and put it on my website. So I decided to call my website web.com. So I'm transferring all those packages over there. And as I'm doing LL, we see that here the package of WordPress is the same side of the package on my website. At this point, I don't need this guy already anymore. I can decide to destroy it, or either, I can rename it. Like, down here is how I'm gonna give it the date of today, so that I will know one day what exactly was the day that I downloaded that package. Or maybe if it happened that I want to do basically it just helped me to have an idea of when I save that file, and it gives me today's date automatically. So now I need to create an upload file. Upload file is going to be the file where if I want to put my images, or even if I had it, whatever what I'm trying to upload on my website, this is where I need to put it. When I was working on it, I realized that it's something that it doesn't come automatically, so I had to troubleshoot it personally. So here we are inside web. We are going inside web, and then it's going to be WP content. So here we don't have the upload. This is where all the plugin will go. This is where the themes will go, but I will create that file upload automatically. Manually, I meant to say. So I created it now. So I'm already inside my the vhost. I'm just going to go inside my web, and here I have a bunch of files, all the files that I took from WordPress and everything. For the main configuration, they already gave you an example. Inside the WP config file, they gave you an example of how you need to do the configuration. Like, mainly, the machine doesn't really think. When somebody trying to connect on my website, the computer knows that I need to come inside this file, config.php, see what are the configuration are in there, and that's how it will know how to redirect the person to whatever what it's looking for. So all I'm doing here, from that sample file, I'm going to create my own config file. As I create my own config file, this one, I will go in there, wp-config, config.php. So like I will say, I come here on the database because my website going to use the database to communicate. Where it say define the DB name, this is where I will be adding the name of the database that I will be creating. Let's make it easy and let's call it a web DB so that we're not going to forget. The issue that you were having, Patrick, is like sometimes you need to look in here when you get the database error. You might want to check, did you restart the MariaDB service? Maybe the problem might be over there, or maybe it might be like the information that you put inside this configuration file doesn't match with the information of the database user. If it's conflicted. So here we give the name of the user, just make web user to make it easy. We don't want to think about it too much as we are just learning the process, how things supposed to work. And here let's do a web password. So these are the main things that you need. And localhost, since we are using it on this local machine, we don't have to worry about changing that. So this is the main information that you need to remember, whatever what you put in here, because we're going to use that when we create the user inside the database. So let me save this. So I did the configuration here. Everything is being configured. I need to change the permission of everything here because it has to be Apache. So I'm doing on the -R, which stand for recursive, meaning all the pages that are going to be inside. Even if I happen to create another page in the future, just give it the proper permission. Right. So if I do LL again, here that we're seeing all the permission of the user has changed. It went from root to Apache. So here I'm done with the configuration of at this stage. Now I need to configure the HTTP himself. So that's why I'm sitting inside the etc. Like I say, when we want to modify the behavior of our application, it's inside the etc file that we go. So if I do this is what we have here at this moment. So I want to create my own configuration file. Like when somebody will come to connect, my server would know where to redirect him. This name is not quite important, the name that you give. I usually put a 01, the name of my website. So it's going to be web.com to help me just identify. Like if I have multiple websites, I want the first one to be 01 and then the second one be 02. The name doesn't really matter. What matters is the configuration. So Apache need to come inside here, see whatever what you put inside the configuration before he would know how to go to the document route, right? This is what is most important. The rest of it is just a nomenclature that you put to make things easier on yourself. Like I was saying, at this level, you don't have to complicate it too much. You can just have this information first, because at this level we are still learning how things works, I don't want to go too much about the level of security and all those other stuff that you can do. So even this line, you don't even need the server alias. I think these two things will be good enough for it to work. And here we call our website web.com, and the document root here we say it need to be so basically, so when somebody gonna type our IP address on the server, when it's gonna come here, our server will know that, hey, he's typing the IP address that is associated with web.com. And if I want to see anything that is associated to web.com, I need to redirect him inside this document root. That's where he's going to see what information that is concerned to web.com. That's pretty much how you need to configure this place right here. So after I done that configuration, my server already know where to go and find the document root and everything. I can just double check if all the configuration is fine. Is there any error? And here it said syntax okay, meaning the configuration is pretty much fine. And this error that is showing down here is not really an error, but we can remove that. That's what I'm doing at this step here. To remove it, I will go on this inside this file, which is the main configuration file. When I go here, I like to come down here just below this guy, and I will say a server name localhost. And I will check again. Now it says syntax okay. That means all the configuration are fine. And as we were talking the other day, this is also going to be one of the ways that you're going to check, because if you do syntax HTTP -T and it gives you an error, it's going to try to make sure what type of error that you are getting. It's going to guide you in some type of way. For example, if I go in here and I try to, let's say we're going to remove this M, for example, and I try to look at it again. Now it's going to complain. It's going to complain that it's going to be, I don't see this document root anywhere. It doesn't exist. That's where you will have an idea of like, oh, probably either I typed my document root wrong in this file, or either when I created inside this file, I didn't create it the way it's supposed to be. So at this point, I will just restart the HTTPD to let my server know that I made some notification inside the httpd.conf file. So I need to notify that I made some notification in there. That's why I'm restarting the service, so that it will take all those changes in effect. So now we configure HTTPD. We need to configure now MariaDB, right? Where our data, all the data and all the information is going to be going on that server. So the password that I gave was Rocky to the database. So the database guy, as they are using their thing, we can do a show databases. They always use the semicolon, and here we don't have any database created yet. This is the information of the data of MariaDB.com from the beginning. We need to create our database, and we use our command create database, and we say we were going to call that database, I believe it was WebDB. in that file, when we modify up here, as I was saying, we say that we're going to call it WebDB so that we're not going to think about it too much. I don't really remember where was that. At this level, at the level 9. So all the information that I put in here, I need to make sure that I create the same one over here. So I'm creating my WebDB database. And if I do show database again, now we have a WebDB database here. The next one, we need to create a user that the database is going to use to connect. So we do a create user, and we decide to call that user web user. We just made it easy. And that web user, we are saying that we are attaching him only on this machine. He cannot connect from any other place. He can only connect from this machine. That's why we are specifying that local host over here. And if we want to give him a password, identify, he need to be identified with the password by, and we say that password was supposed to be web password. And we do the colon to notify that we already put all the centers. So create user, web user, identified by password. So it's create normally. We are letting the database know that we are granting all privilege to that user that we just created. Privileges on. So we are giving all the privilege to our website, to our database, WebDB, and the period, and this is meaning we are only giving the privilege only to the database, and we are giving him all the privileges, right? And we are giving those privileges to the user, web user. Web user, which is the user who can only connect from this machine, which is localhost. Then we created that, and then we are notifying our database of all the change that we just made. Now we can exit out of it since we done. So at this point, I'm just restarting MariaDB and I'm restarting HTTP for them to take in consideration all the different changes I made on my server. And from here, we should be able to have something different, as a website. Our Wordpress website is already being created. So we decided we would, on this part of the WordPress and what we do on the command line is two different things. It's not the same thing. This will be another side of the IT that mainly is going to be like an internal. They're going to have somebody in the IT internally, and he's the one who's going to be managing this side of the WordPress or this side of the IT department. Maybe like if they are setting something, he's the one who's going to be adding how many amount, like, oh, we are having some new stuff that are coming in. And so this is not a job that you're going to do. It doesn't mean like you can still pick up some skills on this, learn this pretty well. There's still some company going to pay you to manage that and at the same time manage the backend Linux WordPress and all the stuff. I'm just trying to make sure like know where you are. Don't be like, oh, you really have to know this because it's a must. It's not a must, but it will be also a good skills to pick up. For those who are even more ambitious, you can use it, learn it well, and then starting selling some of your service out there to people out there. Here, I'm going to give the name, let's say Rocky Web, and I'm going to give the password Rocky Web as well. We don't want to worry about it. Yes, I'm using a good password. On the email, I'll say rockyweb@gmail.com. We say the name was Rocky Web and the password was Rocky Web. So we have a small website here that we created. This is what you see in the back end where you're gonna where whatever who working internally in the IT department, this is what you're gonna see. But the other people, when you go on that website to buy any good, this is what you are gonna see, which is two different interface. Um, I know a little bit about this because I've been playing with it and all the stuff. If I want to change the appearance, for example, I can change. This is what they call the theme. Like when we were saying, when I was creating the upload file, again, that was over www.html web or the host first, and then web, uh, that was WP content. Here, when I created this file, I was saying that it's going to be some theme and it's going to be some plugin. So these are all the different theme over here. If I do LL inside theme, you will see that we have a 2021, 2023, 2022, and here you see the same theme over here. You know, 2021, 22, this should be 23. So I can decide to switch the theme here. As I'm switching the theme over here, if I refresh, you see how it's already changed. You know, depending of whatever what you want to do, there's so many WordPress video over there on YouTube. Whatever what you want to create as a website, you can do with this thing. The developer people, sometimes you're going to be like, oh, if you're a developer, you shouldn't do a WordPress site because WordPress is too easy. That's the thing for developers. We are not developers, we are system admin. So I think we don't have no problem playing with that and get familiar with all of it. That's what it was about. If you want to download it, another theme, for example, you come here on a theme, and then you want to add new. Here is going to tell you that you cannot add something else. It's because another thing that we're going to talk about in the future, which is SC Linux, like you are not allowed to navigate from one place to another if you don't have the permission to do so. The server is stopping you to do that. So we're going to tell him to give us the permission, set it false to 0. So at this point, if I refresh here, it's going to let me give him the possibility to download what theme that I want. You know, if you want to create a business that talk about lotions, if you want to create a business, whatever what you want to do, if it's about maybe trucking, you know, whatever what you are interested on, you just take the theme and it's going to make your WordPress start looking into something already. What can we use here? This is look like for people. This is look like fashion, right? So I want to install it and I want to activate it. If I go here and I refresh, now it already started changing. It's gonna start look like something more different. Need to get familiar with it, how to do some more design, remove whatever what you don't like, whatever what you want to remove. You're gonna add some plugins over here. If you want it to be able to have some more functionality, depending on whatever what plugin that you are looking for. You know, there's so many plugins out there, like millions and billions of plugins, depending on what you want. Some are free, some you have to pay. And at this point, you guys should be able to create a basic website. And I would say if you're playing with this, don't put too much in a week. You can try to give yourself just 1 hour play around creating your own website. You might put 1 hour on how to configure this because we still have a lot of things to learn in this end. You don't want to be following two stuff at the time and then you get more confused and more lost again. But the good news is like you guys should be able to do a website at this time. Any question? No question. Yes, I'm gonna stop